CrowSong Lodge, and today I was going to do a demonstration video with the True Black Tarot. That was something that was sort of requested on the unboxing / review video that I did a few weeks ago, and so I am finally sitting down to do it. The big obstacle with this one was cleaning my desk off and then getting the cats off the now clean desk. So they're eating, so we're gonna do this. Okay, so here we go. I've rotated things so that you guys have more of a bird's eye view above me. This is me here, down here in the corner. It's not the most flattering angle for me ever, but what are you gonna do? You at least have a good view of my desk. I don't usually use this much space when I'm doing readings, but since we're going to use spreads today, I cleared off a space for us, and this is where my cats got very excited about laying and hanging out. So don't mind my mess. This is kind of how I work and hang out. Now, as I mentioned before, the True Black Tarot is actually very large for me. Let's see. I'm making a mess now. So this is the Shadowscapes Tarot, which is a standard size tarot deck. And so for me, I would normally just shuffle like usual. And my hands can handle that pretty well. Not really a difficulty at all. And I'm even going longwise, not even widthwise here. This is pretty simple for me. And you can see the width of the deck is like one joint, or one bone on my thumb here. It goes up to the first knuckle. But with the True Black Tarot, I actually have to take my rings off, a couple of my bigger rings, because the True Black Tarot, because of the finishing on the cards, is so thick. It's actually the entire thickness of my entire thumb. So I cannot riffle it like I did with the Shadowscapes there. I just can't get my hands around it adequately enough to do that. So I actually have to use a different method to shuffle. And I'm just glancing through the deck real quick. I try to, when it comes to the argument of reversals or not, I do try to mind the artist's preference for what they decided to do with their deck. And I'm guessing because there's no reversed cards in here that there was no intended reversed meanings. And that appears to be correct. There's no reversed meanings in the books, so I am assuming that Arthur Wang did not intend for the deck to be used with reversals. So I'm going to use the waterfall method to shuffle the deck. And it does fit very awkwardly in my hands. So we're just going to kind of do this. And I'm just going to go with a Mind, Body, Spirit 3-card spread to start out with. And we're going to see how that goes. And this is going to be a personal reading for myself. So you guys get to be all up in my business today. So I don't normally do that with people. Normally I read for someone else, or I just give like an example reading. But I don't feel like doing that today, so we're just doing the waterfall method. For the waterfall method, I take the lower half of the deck and then I kind of drop some cards above and below. And I do that a few times until, whoops, I feel good about it. Again, this deck is a little bit hard to handle. Another method that is good to use with something like this is the many cuts method. That's where you just kind of cut the deck a whole bunch of times and then pick it up in whatever order makes you happy. So my big complaint about this deck is shuffling it. Now for me, because I like a little extra chaos in my readings, I don't draw cards from the top. Ooh, the True Black is very hard to see on camera, isn't it? Ooh, I should probably get some extra lights in here for y'all. So yes. I don't draw from the top of the deck at all when I'm doing my readings. I fan the cards out, which is extra good if you have trouble shuffling, because it adds that extra little bit of chaos to it. So I'm going to do a Mind, Body, Spirit. I'm just going to check where I am right now with myself. Just checking in with myself right now. Where am I? What's going on with my Mind, Body, Spirit? So I was just cleaning off my table there. So I'm going to run my hand across the cards. First is going to be mind. Mind, mind, mind. I'm going to choose this card here. The cards don't slide over each other very well. Next, I'm going to think about mind, body, 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 body. I'm going to choose this card. And for spirit, and my eyes are closed right now, just so you know. That's how I draw my cards, with my eyes closed. Spirit, I'm going to pick this card here. It just it prevents me from picking any cards that might be marked or any kind of weird accusations like that. So I do tend to close my eyes when I'm drawing my cards. I'm going to set that deck there, and then we're going to start the reading. So yes, left to right. And so I'm going to start with this card here. This is going to address where my mind is right now. And so for this, we have the world. You probably can't tell that this is the world card. I will hold it up. Ooh, this is going to be very awkward. Yeah, we can't really see this well on camera. So this is the world. The illustrations are a little bit hard to, they're very abstract compared to the traditional Rider-Waite imagery, but they are labeled at the bottom. So this does say world. There you go. You can see the lettering down there at the bottom. So this is the world. That tells me that my mind is really just full of possibilities right now. It is all over the place. It feels very unchained and expanded right now, and it's not feeling very hindered. It's just kind of expansive and exploring the possibilities, which I feel is pretty accurate. Nora's going to help us out now. She's blessing the reading. Hi, baby. The next card is going to describe where my body is right now. And so for that, we have, this is one of my favorite cards in the deck. I have a thing for foxes. So this is the 9 of Cups. You can see these are the cups here. And there are 9 of them. It's a little bit confusing because 3 of these have wine and the other 6 have grapes that have not yet turned into wine yet. So that's a total of 9. And again, it just has the number down here. It doesn't tell you that this is cups, but this is cups. And so this is the 9 of Cups. So my body is actually doing really well. It's kind of interesting that I got the 9 of Cups for a body card when the body is usually associated with pentacles. But we're going to go with it. The body is feeling really good right now. It may not be in the best shape, but it's feeling pretty good. And then for my spirit, we have and I actually am not sure which number this is from the illustration. This is the 8 of Wands or rods. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yes, there are in fact 8 of them in here. And I am actually just going to double check and make sure I have my suit correct on this one, because it could possibly be a sword. Now, if you feel the same way, you can look in here and you can see the 8 of Swords has this. Ooh, you can't see that at all over my shoulder. Woo! Too much light on here. So you can see that little symbol here is the symbol on the 8 of Swords. And then if I go over here to Wands, this is not all that helpful for you guys. But if I show you here the symbol for the wands here, you can see it's got the bulby bit at the bottom, where the other one was very clearly a sword. So yes, this here corresponds to the main figure in the card. So this is the 8 of Wands, just like I thought. And so the 8 of Wands, I gotta remember this one because I don't use this deck often. The 8 of Wands tells me that I am... Oh, yes, the 7 of Wands is the fight sequence. That's what I was thinking. The 8 of Wands is the wish card. And that is all about how your wishes are taking flight. And they're now is the time that they are going into action, and so now it's time to plant the seeds of what you want to do and start moving on that. So that's the spirit message for me, where I am, where my spirit is in this moment. So that's actually a very fortuitous reading for me. So that tells me that my mind is feeling expansive and unfettered. My body is feeling really good despite the condition that it's in. And my spirit is ready to start making changes and progress on my plans and start new ventures. So this is actually a really positive reading for me, and I'm pretty pleased with it all together. So so that is how the deck reads. Now you can see that I had a little bit of hesitation. The world was pretty easy to read. It's labeled at the bottom as the world. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck. So of course I knew what it was. It was one of the preview cards that was released early, so I've seen it a lot. And this one was a little bit of a struggle for me because I wasn't really sure whether it was a wand or a sword right away. For me, when I'm learning a new tarot deck, I do need to study the images for a while and connect with the way the artist has interpreted the meaning of the cards so that their language has meaning for me in the way that I understand the card and the way they are interpreting the card. So I do have to spend some time studying the images with this deck before I really get comfortable using it. But it's really a beautiful deck, and my biggest complaints again are the fact that the cards don't slide well on each other. They vary. So you can see I'm like, well, that was kind of my demonstration there. If I take a card and slide it, it's going to pull the cards. They don't slide across each other very well. And then, again, the shuffling issue because the decks are so thick. Now, another thing that you could do with this deck the shuffling issue is the biggest one that I have, honestly. One thing that you could do with this deck, too, to get past the shuffling issue is to shuffle it in halves. That is definitely a doable tactic. You can shuffle it here, and then you can shuffle it here. Like so, and then you can split them up. So I take half of that side and half of this side and shuffle them together. And it's going to be very hard to riffle these decks back together again because they don't slide on each other. The cards don't slide well. And then shuffle there. And then for me, I would split them in half, switch them, and put them back together. And that is what I would call a satisfactory shuffle right there. So if you wanted to do another reading, just to demonstrate another reading, if that's what you're into, we can do a past, present, future. 3-card spreads are what I love for sample readings. They're not too long. They're easy to understand. They're easy to interpret. So for me, again, I like to draw from the middle of the deck, from a fanned deck. So I would go past, and then I'm going to choose a present card, and for some reason I'm pulling them upright this time, and future. So for that, I have the Queen of Cups. So again, it says Queen at the bottom, which makes it really easy for me, but we also see that she does have a crown, and she's holding a cup in her hand, and there's several fishes involved as well. So we know she's the Queen of Cups. For this card, we have the Page, and we know she's a page because it says Page at the bottom. She also has fish swimming around. She's holding a cup. And the little ribbon looks a lot like seaweed, doesn't it? And then here, I'm going to guess this is Two of Swords. And I'm trying to get there it is. The little glossy bit down here does say it is the 2 as well. So, yes, this is the 2 of Swords. So we're reading here past, present, and future. So that tells me in the past, I was much more in my feelings and really operating from that place to make decisions. I was making decisions from a place of emotion and intuition, and really going with that as my primary means of making decisions and evaluating situations. Currently, I'm still listening to that emotional center to receive guidance, but I'm not making all my decisions from there. I'm still getting information that way, though. I'm really evaluating the information that I'm getting and listening for messages that come from there, but I'm taking a more balanced approach. And in the future, it looks like I'm going to have to decide between two different things, two different paths or two different choices, and I am not going to be able to split the difference and kind of seek a compromise on that. It's going to be an either or situation. And I like that this time we got to see the swords cards, because I find the wands somewhat ambiguous, but when you see them next to the swords cards, they're really very much not. The swords cards are very, very clearly swords, and so when you see them in the reading, they're much easier to understand than just the wands on their own. And then, just for the sake of having an example here, this is what the pentacles look like, just so you can kind of see them in action. Here's the Two of Pentacles, and you can see they're kind of being weighed. We have like a little Libra thing going on here, the scales happening. And we have two very clearly obvious gold discs happening as well. So that makes the pentacles very obvious as well. So you're not going to confuse them with the cups or anyone else either. So it's only the wands that are a little bit ambiguous, but that's only if you aren't currently looking at a swords card as well. So for those of you who are interested in how the True Black Tarot works in an actual reading, this is how it works. Again, my only complaint is that the cards don't slide well on each other, and the shuffling is a little bit difficult. But again, there are many ways to work around that. So I hope this demonstration has been really, really helpful. So I hope that was a useful demonstration of how the True Black Tarot works for me. And just a couple days ago, we received an update from the Kickstarter that the decks are just about ready to go out. So for all of you who are waiting on your deck still, you should definitely be stoked about it. This is Nathara at CrowSong Lodge. Remember, if this video was helpful for you, like it, subscribe to the channel, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment thing below. You know how it works. Bye!